Okay, so here we've got an example of Monix Pro having been filled in with data. Now, as you can see at the top here, this is our lifestyle balance, and it says that there is a negative of £2,013.44. Now, initially you might look at that and go, oh, that's a really bad thing, but it's not, okay? Now, this is to try and show how different this is, as in a full financial picture, to just looking at an account balance. So if we look down here at the bottom left in accounts overview, you'll probably log into your accounts and go, oh, I'm absolutely fine. I can go for that takeaway that I want to, and I can spend on what I want to because I've got a healthy account balance. And you have got a healthy account balance. That is great. But your lifestyle that you've planned for, let's just take a quick look over here at the envelopes. And one of the things that you've planned for is to put a deposit down on a house. So you have put aside £12,200 towards your house deposit, and you're still growing that, okay? So when we're taking in everything into account for this lifestyle, your dream and vision of being able to have this much money put aside for the house deposit, whilst also saving up money for a holiday and for Christmas and for birthdays and for your vehicle costs and the tax accounting costs and the loans you've got to pay back, whether personal or bank loans, all of those things are taking away from your account balance, okay? So it looks like we've got a lifestyle balance of a negative £2,013.44, okay? It isn't a bad thing. All it means is, and in fact it's a great thing that we now know this, because we've got that overview of that full financial picture, and it means that we can adjust our lifestyle based on the information we now have. So what we need to do is make up £2,013.44 to get a zero balance. And this balance, don't forget, takes into account all of your living budget. So we've not spent anything on the living budget so far this month, as it is only the 8th of the month. So we've not spent anything on the living budget so far. So if we spend all of that, so if we spend £100 on vehicle expenses, putting fuel into the car, for example, that number is not going to change. The number on the right hand side here, that shows you what your lifestyle balance will be if you do not spend any more of your living budget. In this case, if we don't spend any of our living budget. But obviously that's not going to be the case. We do need to live on our budget, our living budget, throughout the month. So we're going to look mainly at this figure. So let's try and make up £2,000. Well, one of the things we can do is look at the envelopes and just see, right, what's a non-essential that's a luxury or that I would like to have that I don't need. So for example, let's say a holiday is a luxury that you don't have to have, or you've got, this one says running gear, but let's say it's a nice piece of jewellery and you wanted to save up for that, and it's a luxury. Those would probably be the first things you'd look to cut, okay? So we could not go on holiday, decide not to go on holiday, and initially save £250 to go towards that £2,000. So if we go into our envelopes, go over to holiday, and what we'll do is we'll take out and just delete everything that we've put in. Okay? What you could also do is, if we undo that, in July, is if you just take out £250. It does exactly the same thing. Okay? Because if we then go into our dashboard, our holiday is reduced to 0, and our lifestyle balance has decreased by £250. Okay, so putting aside £12,200 away for a house deposit is an amazing thing, but maybe we can't put that much away. So I would look to take out of the house deposit and just be a bit more realistic at this moment in time in this month. We would like to try and get our balance as close to 0 as possible. So I'll go into envelopes, house deposit, and let's take out £1,750. So that leaves us £10,450 in our house deposit envelope. So now we've got a balance that's closer to 0. And it's very easy for us to spend £13.44 less of our living budget. Okay, so if we spend none of our living budget as before, we will have a positive balance of £236.56. But if we just spend £13.44 less than our total budget, so let's, for example, say we're not going to spend anything on books and stationery this month, or we're going to limit ourselves to not spending on entertainment, we're immediately putting that into a positive or a zero balance. Other things that you can look to do which aren't as impactful to take a large negative figure down is looking at your fixed outgoings and what you can reduce. So for example, car insurance, can you get a better deal on your car insurance? Stadia Pro is an online gaming platform. Do you need it? Is that a luxury that you can currently afford? Are you planning a lifestyle that you can't currently afford? And you'll be able to see if you can afford it by looking at this figure down here, okay? So just to break even each month, you need to require to put into your accounts £2,009.18 in this example, and that is to cover all of your fixed outgoings, your entire living budget, and everything you're wanting to put in the envelopes. So you can reduce that number by re-evaluating your envelopes. That's going to have the biggest impact, but also looking at your fixed outgoings and your living budget as well. So that's just a quick way of reducing this lifestyle balance to as close to zero as possible. If your balance is close to or is zero, what that means is you're living a lifestyle that you can afford. So that is a very good positive thing, because it means that everything you need to pay for throughout the year, or you want to save up in years to come, for example, house deposit or anything else, you know you have accounted for, and you're having a zero balance. So it means that, and let's say you've got an envelope that's putting money away, or you've got a direct debit, a fixed outgoing that goes into stocks, and it's still zero. It still means you're saving. So it doesn't mean that you're not necessarily saving. If you've incorporated that into your lifestyle, then you are still saving. But also, what for? Okay, ask yourself that question. You need to consider what sort of investments you're going for and how to maximize your money growth as well. When you start getting into positive numbers here, this is what we at Monix call months in the bank. So what we would try and do is when we get, so if you've got on a negative, we'll try and get to a zero balance. If you're and sustain that zero balance for a couple of months to make sure that you've adjusted your lifestyle to fit. Now, don't forget, there are two ways to do this. You can either adjust your lifestyle, so reduce your outgoings, or also increase your income as well. So don't rule out that, but we're not going to talk about increasing income. That's for wealth coaches or business advisors to do, but you can do that as well. Okay, we're just talking about how you can immediately reduce this number. Once you're at a zero balance, you want to look forward to a positive balance, months in the bank. And by months in the bank, if you get to £2,009.18 up here in a positive number in this example, that means you've got 1 month in the bank. 1 month in the bank means you've got enough money in excess to cover if there is a loss of income. For example, 2020 coronavirus stopped a lot of people's income. So what a lot of people advise is 6 months in the bank. And actually, because of COVID-19, people are now starting to advise 12 months in the bank. So in this example, we would look to have around £24,000 in a positive number. Now, that's obviously very hard to accomplish within a short space of time, especially if you're in a negative. Don't try and do it all at once. You can do this over time. If you're in a negative, try and reduce the negative. When you're in a reduced negative, try and get that to a zero balance. When you're in a zero balance, start to try and build up to 1 month in the bank, then start to build that up to 2 months in the bank. And you want to get to between 6 and 12 months in the bank. And with the rest of the money, you want to be looking at investments if you haven't already. Okay, so that's just a quick video on how to understand your lifestyle balance and why it's so important you cannot rely just on your account overview.